see my screen here, we open up the charts with this first W over here. As you can see, this is the 4 hour time frame. So let's go ahead and just do a quick replay up to right here. And let's break this trade down, our very first trade of the week, right? So looking at the 4 hour time frame, of course, the trade hasn't developed yet. So my initial mindset into this trade is overall trend is an uptrend, right? So we already know that the trend is in an uptrend. What I'm looking for this trade to do is either come to this resistance area that's right here and either show me signs of rejection to then go down or to give me strong candle confirmations on the breakthrough for me to get on the buy. But more than likely, we are looking for a buy. If it were to sell, honestly speaking, in that trade particularly, would have probably waited till it hit this support area down here at the 109, 107 area. So that's how the trade, that's how we opened up the charts. Going into the 1 hour, then we pretty much from here, we just wait, right? We see what's going on. We're just patient. That's going to be the majority of how you take trades. If no trader has told you, patience is key. Okay, if patience pays, you just got to wait for your right setups. If you're just looking to just jump in to get into the market, more than likely not, you're going to lose more money than you thought you would. So just be patient, wait for your setups, and only take your setups. So as you can see, the trade progressing right here. Let's go ahead and come back right here real quick. So as you can see, the trade is starting to progress in the upside motion. We already saw it tapped it here one time and rejected. So my initial thought was like, all right, sellers have momentum. More than likely, we're just going to wait to get into this 106, 107 area, 109 area, to then go ahead and for the buy as long as we get some consolidation in that area. But it never actually went down there. As the charts start to play out, it ends up breaking through right here. So you can see right here, this is a 1 hour candlestick. So my next initial thing was like, all right, if this 1 hour candlestick holds above this area, I'm going to go ahead and get into the trade. But I don't just do that. I then go into the lower time frames to confirm my entry point. So now I'm looking within the 15. On the 15, the candle held above just like we needed it to. Now we need to see what this candle is going to do right here. So what I do, I go into a lower time frame. I start looking into the 5 minute charts to see exactly when it will start to respect. So immediately on this very next candle is where I jumped into the trade. So bring it back over here, get rid of that candle. So once I saw this 5 minute candle close above our support area, this is where I entered the trade. My stop loss was actually down here. It was like 29 to like 36 pip stop loss. That my entry was down there just on the candle lows, just testing out to see if the buys were, initially going to go on the right side. So once that candle held, I jumped into the trade. The reason you saw my stop loss low is because it did get to what we call TP1, which is right here, which is the W trade. Every trade I win, I put a W or a L trade, and then I study the trade regardless of the outcome. So it broke through right here. Then I was like, all right, I'm jumping in right here. I got my stop loss. It's a very tight stop loss. So if I lose it, wasn't really going to bother me much. So then immediately the very next candle, we get TP1 hit. This is essentially where I told all students in the chat, all right, we already hit TP1. This is your opportunity here to either get out of the trade with the money that you made and be happy with your outcome, or if you still want to squeeze out a little bit more, become a responsible trader. So this right here is where you would go ahead and move your stop loss into break even. Sometimes you want to wait till it gets a little higher, of course, but it's for my people who wanted it to be a risk-free trade, or if you're still okay with risking your 29 to 30 something pips, that's cool. It's on you, or you can be risk-free. So from this position here, once it hit this position, I ended up closing 50% of my trade. So I closed partially. So for example, so let's say if I was up $100 on the trade, I secured 50% of it. So, securing some of the bag away. Then I let the other half of the trade run, right? And this is what happened. So you see, sometimes you just got to be real patient. Remember when I said patience pays? Patience isn't always waiting for the move to come. Sometimes patience is relying on your trade, being confident in your trade. So at that point, I was just a responsible trader throughout this entire move right here. And this was only day one, right? First thing we did is we had a tight stop loss. So, make sure we're not risking as much, especially if we're not confident in the trade. Next, waited for our confirmation candles to get in the trade. Then we ended up securing 50% of the profits, moving our stop losses into break even to making it a risk free trade. And then the other 50% that we let ride out end up hitting all the way through to the markets that we wanted. And this is where I always say the markets are unpredictable in both ways, right? You'll be in the market sometimes and out of nowhere, it'll just take all your money. And then you have moments like this right here. And this is what happened. Oh my God. Oh my God. And this is where the market can become predictable. And this is where it can be unpredictable. But it's where it becomes super fun because it's like, holy shit. Right. So this is just showing you one of the trades, right? Second trade idea was over here. All right. So I'll stop it right here for a quick lesson as well. Every time you start to see price start to range or consolidate, that means that it's indecisive whether it still wants to continue to go down or up. So in this position, we're already in an uptrend. So we're either waiting for it to break the support and give us confirmation candles to continue going up, or we expect a normal pullback, which means a retracement. It has to come back down somewhere into this area before it continues to go up. As we all know, if you don't already, make sure you go check out um, Market Structure 101 in the course. It's there for you. But as you know, the market goes up, then comes down, up, then comes down, up, then comes down. It will never just go straight up. Otherwise, we would all be rich. So a normal thing that happens is a pullback. So when you start to see price range, you expect some type of pullback or a breakthrough. Again, we're reactive. We're not predicting. All right, perfect. We'll stop it right here. And as you can see here, we are already on a biased of a buy entry. So my initial thought process was like, all right, it's dangling in the middle. I'm expecting price to come somewhere down here into this area of the 725, right? So I'm expecting to go to 725, and my first take profit would be this entire move. So I expected it to bounce down here, and I can actually show you with this. Where is it? The path. So I expected it to just come down here, bounce off, and then continue to go in that direction, right? But I noticed that something started happening towards the middle. The price started to range again, right? It started to consolidate. So I was like, all right, if it gives me enough confirmation, I will go ahead and get into a small buy position here. As you know, it's not the ideal entry where I want it to be. So what did I do? When I'm taking positions that aren't really ideal, they're just kind of presenting themselves, I'll analyze it, I'll make some confirmations, I'll look for confirmations, and then I decide if I want to get into it or not. But the major thing that I always do is lower the risk on that trade because it wasn't my ideal setup that I wanted, right? So let's go ahead into the 15 minutes. We may have to press play again. So at this point, you started to see the breakthrough. It hit right here one time, right? But overall, the market is trending. If it would have held up here, I would have wanted to see some type of push towards the upside, maybe a little retracement, treating this new resistance as support, and then I would have gotten it up there. So let me just show you how the trade ended up playing out. Right? So you start to see at this moment right here, it's starting to create some type of support level, right? The candles are bouncing off of it. They're having trouble to break through this whole area right here. Next thing I also noticed, it already hit twice. Let's continue to watch the play here. It started to get lower. This is where I decided to, you know what, let me go into my lower time frames, see if it's showing me anything of either confirmation candles or consolidation. I got in here, I suffered some drawdown, and I was like, all right, if it goes down, I'm expecting it to go down to that level, and then I'll re-enter for another buy. Then I noticed once it hit over here once, and then it hit over here a second time, and it didn't break through, I became a little bit aggressive on this entry and entered at that point. Again, that's where I suffered some of the drawdown before it started to go back up. So as you can see right here, market again being extremely unpredictable. Not only did it go ahead and put us about 85 pips in profit, ended up taking off and going even further than that. And that was on a 5-minute candle. It ended up hitting the top of the resistance area, breaking through it. Go ahead and zoom in on lower time frame areas, right? So we got the lower time frame areas. As you can see, again, like I explained in earlier in the video, it's a normal push up. Every uptrend has a normal retracement or a normal pullback, right? So it broke through this area, and after that, never really retested it again. So what did it end up doing it? I'm expecting price to retest somewhere in this area right here. So the 162, 163 area, that is my area of support. So I'm expecting support to hit, and then I'm also expecting some consolidation to happen first. I don't just want the candle to hit my entry and then me to jump in. I want to see some confirmations of consolidation happen, and meaning it's starting to get indecisive around this price. And since I already know it's an uptrend, it's already at my support levels. Once I get a strong indication of a buy candle, I go ahead and jump in for the trade then. So here's what ended up happening. I also took a counter trade on this one as well. The counter trade was short lived, very minimal risk. Like the profits weren't even worth it, if I'm being honest. So we're not going to talk about the counter trade that we did win. Oh my God. You guys see that one candle? But we didn't get into over here. Because if you look on the 5 minutes, it didn't just happen just like that with just one big bar. Right? So we got in on the second confirmation candle. So once it hit this area right here, which was some area of support, we had already entered over here for a sell. That was a counter trade, and we left it alone. Then we saw this huge green candle. At the beginning, I wasn't going to jump in on a trade, but I wasn't expecting a huge candle like that. Not only did the huge candle happen, it also closed above our support area where we were looking to be. So on higher time frames, you're going to see this area as one big wick, right? You're going to see a tail end like this. So on higher time frames, this is a wicked candle. So once it closed like that on the 5 minutes, I was like, all right, if it retraces even a little bit to the support, I'm getting in. Retraced just enough, and I just got into the trade because we had a huge confirmation candle for a buy, an engulfing candle that took out like 6-7 candles. And then immediately on the very next candle, I end up hitting TP. The team, all 8 in the chat that we sent out this trade, this was live as well. So that was another amazing W trade. And it ended up going higher, which is why I always say, like, the market is just super unpredictable. So on higher time frames, it looks like this. Remember how I told you guys down here, that is just one wick. That's what ended up happening. So as you can see here, it's just one big wicked candle. We go into the 1 hour, you'll see it, right? One big wicked candle. So that is all positive for us, and we took advantage because we moved into lower time frames to get all the information we needed to jump into the trade. And then our last setup was actually a sell, and I'll explain why I took this sell as well. So all week we were in a uptrend. As you can see here, all week we were in a uptrend. Then the market started to take dips, right? To break the support area. So it was once support is now becoming resistance. So it broke through the support area. then broke through another support area, then started to respect it. Just like uptrends, you expect it to go up, then a little bit low, up, then a little bit low. It's the continuation retracement, continuation retracement. On downtrends, it is the exact same thing. Continuation, retracement, continuation, retracement, continuation, retracement, so on and so forth. So this is how you end up seeing it on here as well. You start to see a lot of continuation, and then you eventually see some type of retracement. And that is where we are in the market today. We're waiting for the retracement. I already have my future areas for the week. I obviously want to look for confirmations, but I'm expecting it to bounce around this area right here, which is the 919, all the way up back into the resistance area of the 329. So that's what I'm expecting now. We got our retracement on the higher time frames. Remember, pullback or continuation, pullback, continuation, pullback. We already went through a downtrend, as you can see here. On the 1 hour chart, you can see clear as day. We got the lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, so on and so forth. But now it's hitting that major area of support, and this is just a normal pullback on a higher time frame. So that's the 1 hour. If we go to the 4 hour chart, we got the continuation pullback. We're waiting to see some area of respect. I'm expecting it to get a little bit lower before continuing up. Now, if it doesn't do that, then I'm expecting it to break somewhere down here and hold before I even think about getting in for like a big time sell or anything like that. And that's low key a signal for the week too. So like if you end up watching this video before Sunday, that's the signal for the entire week coming up, right? That's what we'll be looking into. And then of course we're reactive. We are not predicting the market. So let's just go over this last trade that we caught over here. I go on to ramble. So if I sound crazy, just go ahead and let me know in the comments. It's all good. Uh, I love to talk about trading clearly. So why did we take the sell right here? Once it broke into our area of support down here and held, that was our confirmation to let us know that this candle is about to continue going. Well, it's our confirmations for what we consider downtrends or a bearish market. A bearish market. I'm over here talking crazy. All right. So moving down, we're waiting for confirmation. So we see it starts to go down. You see how it's consolidating, then it broke through. So my ideal thinking when something like this happens, all right, if this candle holds here, I can either be an aggressive trader, one, and just jump in on the very next candle for the sell, or I can be a conservative trader where I wait for it to retrace even a little bit back to the resistance before I get in for the sell. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no right or wrong answer. It all depends on what you're good for. Obviously, for the more aggressive traders, you're just going to have to be comfortable taking a little bit more of a risk or end up tightening your stop loss a little bit more. Whereas conservative traders, yeah, you're waiting at the right time, right area so you can get your perfect risk to reward. But then you miss out on potential areas of profit because sometimes they don't retest at all. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. You just got to choose what you're okay with at the time. So moving on here, boom. And like I said, right, even if it retraces a little bit, you get that. Or if you're aggressive, you got to suffer that little withdrawal or drawdown before you can go ahead and hit TP, right? And then ends up coming back, right? Ends up coming back. And guess what? Ends up hitting it again. So there's more than one way you could have won this trade, right? I just end up having to be a little bit more on the conservative side with the candles, but this was an official pullback here. That official pullback that never broke through, that very next candle that formed. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and show you. When the charts end up reaching this area right here, you have two options, right? Same thing from the previous option. One, if this candle closes right here, I can be an aggressive trader and jump in on this very next candle. Or I can wait for it to retest at the 353 area or higher, and then I'll jump in for the sell. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you're okay with. So you can see it ended up going in the direction anyways. So it pulled back just a little bit. If you were super precise on your entry point, It might or might not have gotten to where you needed to get to. And for my people who were aggressive, you ended up taking a little bit of a drawdown, but still ended up being profitable. Again, no right or wrong answer, but this was the last trade that we caught that ended up totaling out our P&L for the week of $3,000 for the week, right? It was an amazing week. We didn't hold on to trades longer than we should have because we were grateful. I'm sure if I held on to about two of those trades a little bit longer, I would have probably profited anywhere from five to $6,000 this week. But again, I'm okay with what I made. So I made it half than that, but I secured the bag. The main thing here is securing the bag first. Once you secure the bag, once you go ahead and pay your bills, and then you have some fluff or some fun money left over. Shout out to Q Banks, he says that a lot. But once you have that cushion, then you can go ahead and be like, all right, I'm gonna hold this trade a little longer. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. As a full-time day trader, you got to go ahead and take care of business as well. So sometimes it's not gonna be the home run plays. Sometimes you just got to make take what the market gives you. You appreciate it. You move on. You collect the bag. You go handle what you got to handle. And then when you've taken care of everything, like, all right, now let me go ahead for these home run moves and really make a bag, right? But always make sure, especially as a day trader, that you're taking care of business first. If you're part-time day trading, it's the same thing. Um, if the market gives you $250, your light bills, your Wi-Fi or light bills like $60. Guess what? Trading just paid for that, right? Now you get to save your money from your 9 to 5 job to do whatever else you want. Maybe you fund up on a more of the account to make more money, or you just go ahead and enjoy or pay a bill, whatever the case is, right? And that's how I kind of want you, if you're watching this video, to start looking at trading, especially if you're part-time and day trading, or full-time 9 to 5 and day trading. I want you to handle business, right? If this can help you pay a couple bills, then before you know it, maybe it's helping you pay all your bills, to where your 9 to 5 money is just kind of just sitting there, just constantly just stacking up. Then that's when the real fun begins. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video today. I had fun trading this week. Be on the lookout for the live sessions that are coming up Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. And if you are not part of the community, make sure you go ahead and tap in. The link will be in the description below.